Powered by the Montana Television Network. Montana This Morning continues on Montana's News Leader.
Putin retaliates against the Trump administration, expelling Russian diplomats from U.S. soil. I'm Laura Podesta in New York with what this means for the future of U.S.-Russia relations.
And both the president and Montana U.S. Senator Jon Tester talking about how to improve America's infrastructure. What they're both saying also coming up.
Good morning. It is 6:30 on your Friday. Russia is kicking Americans out of the country in response to the U.S. doing the same thing. That's
right. The tit-for-tat punishment comes after a former Russian spy and his daughter were poisoned in England. CBS's Laura Podesta has the latest on the reverberations it will have on U.S.-Russian diplomacy.
Tensions with Russia reach new heights as 60 Americans are ordered out of the country, the exact same number of Russian diplomats President Trump kicked out of the U.S. on Monday. The decision came in response to the poisoning of former spy Sergei Skripal and his daughter Yulia in the English city of Salisbury. Authorities blame Russia for the attack.
The message that is being sent is you cannot use a military-grade nerve agent without a response.
Part of that response is President Trump's decision to close the Russian consulate in Seattle. Workers were seen packing up boxes and leaving Thursday. In retaliation, Russia said it would be shutting down the U.S. consulate in St. Petersburg. White House spokesperson Sarah Huckabee Sanders says this marks a further deterioration in the United States-Russia relationship. Russia's foreign ministry spokesperson said there was no proof Russia was to blame for the March 4th attack and compares it to misleading information she said the West used to justify the invasion of Iraq.
Nobody asked for some additional materials on a weapon of mass destruction. They just trusted the United States and Great Britain, and they were betrayed.
A spokesperson for the U.S. State Department said late last night Russia should not be acting like a victim. Laura Podesta, CBS News, New York.
UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres says the world is approaching a situation similar to the Cold War as tensions rise between the United States and Russia.
Meantime, now 6:32 on this Friday. Meteorologist Matt Elwell joins us. Not a bad start to the final Friday in March. I mean, all things considered, it could be a far worse out there.
It absolutely could.
Yeah, it's nice.
It's not
bad. A little
bad.
cloudy, a little breezy, just starting to pick up. The trees are starting to sway.
It looks like it's going to be windy for the afternoon as well. And I do expect the wind to be a big issue. Maybe some rain showers as well.
Nice.
So let's soak it in now. Temperatures into the 30s, near 40 for both Butte and Belgrade. We'll probably deal with some pretty mild temperatures for the most part today. We do have some clouds rolling around, even some snow showers out to our west. I think our biggest issue is going to be scattered rain showers today and the wind. We may see a little light snow by early tomorrow morning. We're going to talk about the timing of all that, talk about how much snow we could see by Easter Sunday, and that's all coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Matt. Now 6:33. President Trump made a stop in Ohio yesterday, speaking to a crowd of union builders. Although his focus touched on a number of topics, the event was originally billed to target an infrastructure plan. The current plan is asking for $1.5 trillion. The president touted the plan and hopes to garner more support from Congress, which is lukewarm on the idea. The president is urging for progress, saying America has fallen from its power and that it once was in its earliest days of infrastructure.
It's a plan for building a stronger America. For most of our history, American infrastructure was the envy of the world. True. Go back 30, 40, 50 years, they would look at us like, now we are like, in many cases, a third world country. It's an embarrassment. And we're the ones that had the imagination and the drive to get it done.
Now, meanwhile, U.S. Senator Jon Tester spoke in Helena at a business roundtable talking about his banking deregulation bill that just passed. He also stopped in to talk with us yesterday on a wide variety of issues before Congress, including infrastructure. Tester, a Democrat who is up for re-election this year, explained why he voted for the big omnibus budget bill last week. He said it has many good things in it for the country and for Montana, including language to help the Forest Service better manage timber and other national forest resources. Tester also said Congress can come together on an infrastructure bill if it wants to, and that bill should focus on more than just highways.
I think infrastructure is bigger than just roads and bridges. The work that has to be done on broadband is really important, on cell service is really important. To make sure that rural America gets those dollars, really important. So we've got a lot of work to do when it comes to infrastructure. There are a lot of needs out there. We have neglected it for far too long. We're living on the infrastructure that my parents' generation built. It's time we step up.
The tester also said it will be difficult finding the federal money to fund infrastructure.
Shifting gears a bit, if you live in Butte and you felt your home shake earlier this week, it was not an earthquake. Officials with Montana Resources confirmed to MTN one of the company's routine blasts on Monday about 1 o'clock in the afternoon was responsible for at least 10 complaints from people living in the Flats area. Residents said they felt the earth shake. Officials said the blast was a relatively smaller one, but the location and the type of soil it happened on had a ripple effect, and it was felt by some residents. No major damage reported. Montana Resources says it's blasts about 3 times a week, usually in the afternoons. Staying in the mining city, Butte's new parking garage has been opened to the public for only about a month, but some citizens have complained about a bump in the tiles on the front of the structure. The issue was brought up at the recent Urban Revitalization Agency meeting, in which some residents noticed a warping on the facade of the building where tiles have been placed. Officials say this is just a cosmetic issue and that the $8 million building is still structurally sound. However, the city will consider possibly covering up the flawed tiles.
One of the ideas that has been thrown out there is that a separate piece of something is placed over the top of the tile, and the entry and exit signs are then placed on that separate piece of metal or whatever it might be. So that it would cover up the bump.
By the way, no decision on changing the tiles has yet been made.
And the operator of Montana's only private prison at Shelby has its 20-year contract up for renewal next year. But the contract renewal and the prison's future are far from being settled. In the second part of our 2-part series on the prison, MTN's Mike Dennison looks at the politics of that contract and the prison's place in the community.
The 700-bed Crossroads Correctional Center at Shelby employs nearly 180 people at full staff, and some travel from as far away as Great Falls, 90 miles to the south. It also pays about $450,000 a year in property taxes to help fund city and county governments and local schools.
We do pay the property taxes as well, with the water bills, helping out the local community. A lot of the staff members work hand in hand with different organizations such as the Kiwanis Club or the Chamber of Commerce to be a part of the community. We are definitely a part of this community.
Local leaders say it should be a no-brainer for the state to renew the contract with Tennessee-based operator CoreCivic, which has run the prison since it opened in 1999.
Really, in my view, you have the perfect thing. You have somebody doing what needs to be done to take care of those inmates, and the state monitors that contract every day to make sure they're living up to the standards required.
But critics question whether Crossroads will be needed for the long term as Montana embarks on reforms designed to reduce its prison population. They also say, as a private operator, CoreCivic isn't providing the best treatment and training to help inmates prepare for re-entry into society.
My preference would be that the state come up with a plan to remove that facility from CoreCivic ownership and operation and use it as a way to provide the programming that so many incarcerated Montanans need in order to fulfill the obligations of their sentence and be put back in communities.
Republicans in the legislature, however, indicate they won't approve the state taking over the prison. State Representative Rob Cook of Conrad, whose district includes Shelby, says it's cheaper to have a private prison. And if the state wants more rehabilitation programs, it can require them.
If we're talking about recidivism and trying to avoid recidivism, that's easy enough to write into a contract that any private vendor can follow. I think that the potential for the state to purchase this prison is null.
Governor Steve Bullock's administration says it's talking to CoreCivic about changes in the contract, but is keeping all options open.
There's certainly concern on our part with some of the issues at the facility, but we also don't want to saddle taxpayers with a long-term contract that doesn't deliver the services that we would expect from a state prison or a state facility.
So if getting rid of this private correctional facility in Shelby looks like a political non-starter, what does that mean for its future? That's the question the Bullock administration and the legislature must decide by next year. Reporting from Shelby, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
Now, the contract with the CoreCivic expires next July. You can also read Mike Dennison's full report on the Shelby prison on our websites.
Very interesting series
Very
that Michael has
interesting.
run there for us on that. Meantime, we're going to take a quick break. We got an interesting story coming up after the break. A woman setting a record climbing Everest, not once, not twice. I'll leave it to you for the story. It's just phenomenal how many times she's done this.
Wow. But first, let's check in with Nora O'Donnell to see what your headlines are at 7 right here on CBS.
Ahead on CBS this morning, breaking news. We just learned coalition troops were killed in a roadside bomb in Syria. This comes hours after President Trump announced he wants to end military presence in the country. And many swipe right to look for love, so why not Puppy Love, the app that's matching people with their ideal dog. We'll see you right at 7.